motherland drip on me. Honey, come around my way, around my house. Whenever mama said so, mama said, here I come on my throne, sitting out. Follow my parade, my parade. Talking slick to my folk, hit that lip line like hypo. Yeah, I'm swollen, right? These is known to bite. Now here we come on my throne, sitting out. Follow my parade, black parade.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job. Done.
Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties. Sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Coy with your black tea sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's fill it up.
All right. Happy Friday to you melanated beauties. Sun-kissed by God's lips. This is your girl Coy with the black tea sip, and I am overzealous. I'm conveying. We are black in the White House once again. Yes, that was not a Freudian slip. We are black in the White House once again. Madam Vice President Soror Kamala Harris.
Does anybody have any question? No, actually, I think so.
Inside, who has his finger on the button. You know that famous button that everybody's talking about, the famous button that everybody's saying is, it's so critical. It's even been a thing now with Trump. They had to get him out of office because he had his finger on the button. And now she, the first woman to be vice president. I mean, those of you that are politically astute remember Walter Mondale trying to have a woman VP, and it failed miserably. I mean, there is the whole thing about Tip O'Neill, and now we have a woman in the White House as VP and a black woman. And let me just say this. Let me just say that there is a movement upon those that are of non-color, and some that are not of African descent, not part of the African diaspora, those that do not recognize their tie to the motherland. Let's just put it like that. They want to always, they did it with Obama, they're doing it now, they always want to try to get theirs in. And so they have started this thing about she is the first black woman, check, true, and the first South Asian Pacific woman. I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm not, wait, before y'all jump on me. I'm not saying there's something wrong with it. I'm saying, as black folk, y'all didn't know it was a thing either. Because what we would have said is she's Indian. She's of Indian descent. But they trying to put a whole grouping of people, continent, country. They want to wrap it all up in this nice little package. The package that says, I am a black woman. You heard her when she did her acceptance speech, when she came out in the white suit. Let me touch on the white suit momentarily, but however, I want to finish this thought before I jump on that one. When she came out in the white suit, looking drop dead gorgeous, then she said, I am a black woman. Howard University graduate, the Mecca. She talked about HBCU graduate. I will come back to that momentarily. And then she said Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and the Divine Nine. And there were lots of people that do not look like us that were scratching their heads because really and truly you have to be part of the black life experience. I'm not saying you have to be black. I'm not saying you have to be African American. I'm saying you have to be part of the experience to know what that means. And at no time did she say, I am of South Pacific Asian. She said my mother was Indian, and she taught my sister and I to respect our culture. Let me just say this before I deal with the whole thing about the white suit and before I deal with the HBCU statements. Let me say this. When you grow up in this sun-kissed skin, regardless of the hue, because as black folk, and yes, I'm saying folk, F-O-K-E, as black folk, we know that you don't get a chance to choose. See, society chooses for us. They don't allow our biracial brothers and sisters to say, I'm black and I'm white. They choose for you. They say, you're black. And at no time do they say, and you're white, unless you are Barack Obama. And they did it then because they couldn't allow us to have it. Oh, heavens forbid, heavens no, the darkies can't have it. They can't have him as the president. And let me just say this, he wasn't the first black. He was the first one that really came out and said he was black because, we got Abraham Lincoln. His mother was a mulatto. Let me help you walk down history and memory lane. And then, we had Thomas Jefferson. The reason he had such an affinity for old Sarah is because he had blackness in his blood. He was also of a mulatto ancestry. I could continue to walk it, but fact check me, because there's a lot of that going on. We'll get to Trump in just a moment. So I'm saying this to say they wouldn't allow us to have it, and they don't want us to have it with Kamala. It's partly Tiger Woods' fault. I mean, I know he has a little show going on now. It's partly his fault. He came out and said, I'm not black. He made up some term we had never heard before, certainly not black folk. And he said, I am Kablasian. We was like, what? That sounds like something you go into the surgeon's office and get lanced off your skin. That sounds like some kind of procedure. You get Kablasian. But he said he was Kablasian or Kablasian, and he was not black. He did not decide he was black until they said they were going to have fried chicken and collard greens and watermelon. I don't know why they say we are the ones that like watermelon. Everybody likes watermelon. I've seen a lot of white people eating watermelon. I've digressed. And so then they said, oh, well, he wanted the black community to run to his aid. And we were like, nah, brother, put the green jacket on without us. So there's this movement that you have to bifurcate your race. Well, there's no such animal. And so Kamala said, I am a black woman, because her dad is Jamaican. I don't know why people question that. You can't get any blacker than Jamaican, but okay, all right, let them have their way. And so now we have black in the White House, black back in the White House. It's going to be very interesting because she is going to guide and direct Joe, because he is a man that will allow himself as president to be guided, to be directed, to listen, and recognize he doesn't know everything, and to understand that when it comes to black folk, he's got Kamala at his right hand, and he doesn't have to talk to Ice Cube and now Snoop, who said what that ridiculousness he said, or Kanye. He can actually go to a real source, an HBCU graduate. You certainly don't have to go to an HBCU to be black, but it does help, baby. And, when her blackness is questioned, we can just refer to the speech that she gave in the white suit. The white suit is also a thing because they said she came out in white to support women's suffrage. I don't know if that's a thing. I mean, I know I saw them walking with those crazy hats. Looked like it was heavy on their neck, and white suits when they were protesting the right to vote. And so they decided that her white suit was because of her, let's say, her embodiment of women's suffrage, and perhaps it was. But what I saw, well, now Soros, stay with me. What I saw was a pearl white suit with a beautiful pearl white blouse. That's all I'm going to say about that. Now, I told you I would talk about HBCUs. Let me just say this. Drum roll, please. It seems recognized for our greatness in historically black colleges and universities, it seems that it is okay to say you went to an HBCU all of a sudden, except for the fact that we have been running companies as entrepreneurs and CEOs and presidents and board chairmen. We have been doing this for a plethora of years. We have been contributing to society through our HBCUs, our movements, our education, our academic prowess. We have been doing this for well over 100 years, but now all of a sudden, it's okay to say you go to an HBCU. So take that forth, take that with you, and be fruitful and multiply. Now, all of a sudden, it's okay to go to an HBCU. All right. Well, now, the inauguration went off without a hitch. Who knew that there was supposed to be all of these things happening? Trump was going to declare martial law, and he was going to be able to stop the inauguration. And really what he did was he just got on the helicopter, moving very slowly, and got off and then, went on. And then Melania walked away from him. And so nothing was stopped. And Melania is no more, and Trump has gone on by the wayside. We haven't heard a peep from him. He's been practicing bad golf. And we've got, way to go, Joe, and Kamala in the office, and QAnon, which I'm going to talk about today, is wondering what to do. They're all sitting there, sucking their thumbs and scratching their heads, trying to figure out what has happened. Was all of it a lie? All 4 years? Yes. This is Coy with your Black Tea Sip. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Let's talk about Michelle. Yes, she gave it to them, served them for the gods. This is Coy. We'll be right back. Go grab your cups, baby. We're filling it up today.
Prejudice. Wrote a song about it? Like to hear it? Here it go. Free your mind. I wear tight clothing, high heel shoes. It doesn't mean that I'm a prostitute. No. I like rap music, wear hip hop clothes. That doesn't mean that I'm a selling dope. No.
Do you want to find a stable job in a growing field? IT jobs such as network systems administrators, cybersecurity, programming, cloud, and computer systems analysts are expected to increase 25% by 2022. Texas Premier Technology Institute offers training for top certifications such as CompTIA, Cisco, and Microsoft in less than 12 weeks. And if you're unemployed or underemployed, you may qualify for free tuition. Contact TPTI at 1-888-490-TPTI or check them out on the web at tpti.us.
All right, and we're back. And before we went to break, we were talking about Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, but we cannot forget the greatness of the Obamas. Michelle Obama served them royally. Do we have the picture, Angelo? Let's pull up how Michelle looked in 2016 when Trump was coming into office. She, one of the things I love about Michelle is the fact that Michelle, what she feeling, you get it. She's going to serve you one way or another. If you can read the comments for those of you that are watching on social media, and I'll read it for those of you that are listening online to the Facebook radio network. It says, girl, just give me a weave ponytail because I don't want to be here anyway. So that's the 2017, I said 16, 2017 picture at Trump's inauguration because, what the Obamas are, if nothing else, is classy. They are absolutely classy, no matter what. So I'm pretty sure that, in my mind, I hear it like this. Obama's like, come on, Michelle, you not ready yet? No. Okay, I know. But come on, Michelle, we got to go. Well, Michelle, what you gonna do here? Look, I'm just gonna slap this ponytail on and we just gonna go on up here and see this man. Because that's how she looked. But 2021, when Black was in the White House, again, when Black was back, 2021, she served us with a wine-colored, looked like wool and perhaps crepe duster, a wine-colored turtleneck fitted, a huge wine belt with the extraordinary gold buckle and high-waisted wine crepe wool wide leg pants. Oh my God. Did she not let us have it or what? Hair whipped, ready, leather gloves ready. Obama was just kind of there because it really was the Michelle show. Yeah, look, 2017, 2021. She could do whatever she wanted to do in 2017. I mean, she is the former first lady. And she served us royally during Obama's administration. But when I tell you she didn't want to be there, and she let it be known she didn't want to be there. And she was just like, all right, let me go on and do this. She got ready for Joe, for way to go Joe, the former VP in the Obama administration, now president of these United States. She got ready. And so I just want to say thank you, Michelle, because it was good to see you back in form. We had Gaga show up with a gigantic eagle across her chest. Baby, she was, home of the brave and land of the free was all across her chest. And then we had J-Lo show up. I don't know if she was showing up in all white for women's suffrage. I do want to say this. It was very cold out there, and she had on a summertime blouse. That's all I'm going to say about that. But she did look very, very pretty. And she actually carried the tune all the way through because I'm not a J-Lo fan. I respect her grind, respect the hustle, and I think that she's a talented actress and dancer. But as far as a singer, well, when she was married to Mark Anthony, I was always hoping they never sung together because I was like, this is going to end in divorce. And then they did sing together, and it did end in divorce, so, sometimes I'm clairvoyant. But I thought that it was a wonderful event. And then we had Bernie. And he showed up with the mittens, and everybody's talking about the mittens, and I don't understand why people are talking about the mittens because Bernie showed up like Bernie. I mean, that's how Bernie looks. That's what Bernie does. And there was a student from NYU that created an algorithm where you could put Bernie Sanders anywhere that Google Maps would show, right? Just paste him. You could cut and paste him in there. And that became a phenomenon. And I mean, that's kind of good for Bernie because, he wants to be relevant among young people. So there's that. So we have actually, really and truly been able to restore dignity and integrity, class, awesomeness, sophistication, beauty. I mean, shall I go on? Humor, transparency. I mean, listen, even Fauci. Look, we got the video of Fauci. I want to show them the difference between Fauci under Trump and Fauci under Biden. Biden's only been in office 2 days, right? 2 days that Biden has been in office. And Fauci said it was good to have a president that understood science. Really what he was saying was, for those that are not good in interpretations, really what he was saying is it's good to have a president with a brain. He was saying it's good to have a president that doesn't suffer from leaky gut and brain fog, who can actually articulate a thought and carry it through in messaging and policy. That is what he was saying, because Fauci looked a lot like Michelle. I mean, he didn't have a weave ponytail. I'm not saying he had a weave ponytail. I'm not saying he just threw that in the back of his head.
Does anybody have any question? No, actually, I think so. Okay. Yeah, how about you? Does anybody have any question? No, actually, I think so. Okay. Yeah, how about you? Does anybody have any question? No, actually, I think so. Okay. Yeah, how about you? Does anybody have any question? No, actually, I think so. Okay.
This feels like a rerun in syndication that you can't wait to get home and see. We're back. Poor Fauci. Lord, he's sweating. He can't hardly sit there and listen to people say you should put light in your orifices and drink Clorox and spray some disinfectant, try to figure out how to get that in the body. Like he's, bless his heart, poor Dr. Fauci. He had to endure that for 4 years, but we cannot say that man doesn't have perseverance, because perseverance is absolutely what he has. He's he's just going to have to try to calm down, quash some of his enthusiasm, because it's hard not to celebrate that Joe is back, and he's back with black, and I just can't say it enough. So let me say this. We've all talked about Bernie, and I talked about how they have this algorithm now, and they just drop him wherever you want to in Google Maps. Bernie is also going to be very significant to the Biden administration, because he is now the chairperson of the Senate Budget Committee. That's a very big chairman job, because he is literally controlling the purse strings for Senate budget approval. So when Joe is talking about he wants to give $1,400 to every American, then that has to be approved through the budget, where they say, okay, this is where the money is, because the Republicans are going to try to have a lot of stops. They're going to create a lot of gaps. And the belief is that Joe Biden is the only one that could really tie this together between the Republican GOP and the Democrats, because he's worked so long on both sides of the aisle. Many of you that follow my page, go to Black Tea Sip on the Facebook page, and you'll see a video by Lindsey Graham where he is celebrating and touting about what a tremendous person Joe Biden is, and he says he's had more integrity than anybody he knows. And he goes further to say that if you will disavow that fact, then you're basically cuckoo la la. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he's saying. So there's a belief that he is going to be able to bring these two groups together. Well, now we have in the Senate a 50-50 split, with Madam Vice President Kamala Harris being the tiebreaker. Well, the reason that's significant is because the GOP is trying to say for any significant legislation like $1,400 in your bank account, then you would need 60% Senate approval and not just Kamala as the tiebreaker. So they've always got this way of trying to do things. We've got Chuck Schumer, who is now taken over as the majority leader, which means that Mitch McConnell, and I really want to replace that M with a B, McConnell is now the minority leader, but they have not decided how they want to work together, which shows that there's already a fraction in this process of working together, reaching across the aisles and bipartisanship. It's already fractured. And so the issue with Bernie and the mitten sitting there like a curmudgeon is that we hope that he will not be as surly and immovable in his countenance and presence as chairman of the budget committee, because that is going to cause a lot of problems for Joe and Kamala and the Democratic Party. Those of you that have been following South Carolina, Jamie Harrison that almost beat Lindsey Graham. You know, Lindsey Graham was crying, talking about just give him some money, please, just give me $1. Y'all remember that? Well, he is now the chair of the Democratic National Convention appointed by Joe Biden. So as we ramp up and start looking at congressional seats for 2022 and then 2024 with these Senate races with Ted Cruz' seat being available, well, he has to run and try to stay in office, and there's a belief that Ted Cruz is going to try to run for president, and that's why he's been bromancing Donald Trump so. And the QAnon and other right-wing conspiracy theorists is because he won't disavow the actions of what happened at the Capitol. John Cornyn is another one for the state of Texas that won't do that, and several others. Holly is a big supporter and was right in there with Cruz, and now they have the Senate ethics complaints have been filed against them with the Ethics Commission, which is a body that looks at the behavior of senators, and they can sanction them, but you can also be expelled from the Senate, which is what should happen, but you know, that's probably not going to happen because as Democrats, you know, we always want to play nice. But there's a lot of moving parts that are going on now that Joe is in office, and we need to really pay attention. Vaccinations. I want to touch on vaccinations because I think it's important for us to discuss the fact that, well, Trump had no plan, but there's no shocker there. I mean, not surprised, are we, that Trump had no plan? There was nothing given. So they're literally starting from scratch. They're coming in the middle of something. It's like if you were on a group project and you needed to pass the class with a B++ in order to get a B++ grade to pass the class, and you don't have any idea of what the assignment is, you don't know the people you're working with, and they say just go join this group and make it happen. That's basically what they've done. And so Biden has said he's going to approach this like wartime, which makes perfect sense because it's killed more people than World War I. The problem is we're running out of vaccinations all over the nation. We're dealing with a variant, a mutation of the coronavirus. Someone said that they told someone that I said it's over 4,000 strains of the coronavirus. They were like, that's not true. It has mutated, and there are over 4,000 strains of the coronavirus. Google it. I mean, Google is your friend. With that being said, I think that people are really concerned that have gotten the Pfizer vaccination and are now wondering if they're going to be able to get the same efficacy when they take the Moderna vaccination. That concerns me because I'm like, yeah, it's supposed to be the vaccination to do the same job, but they're two different vaccinations. Otherwise, we wouldn't have two different companies, two different emergency FDA approvals, and now you're wondering whether or not you can mix the drug in your body. I don't know. I'm not the person you ask because I don't eat fish out of a chicken house and I don't eat chicken out of a fish house. So I'm probably not the person you ask, but I am saying you should ask. If you live in Dallas County, let me just say this. Governor Hot Wheels has done it again. He never ceases to amaze with the way that he tells us in the black community we are not considered. The way he tells us in the brown community you are not considered. He basically tells us on a daily basis, go jump in a lake. Well, he's done it again. We're all lake jumpers to him because he said that when Dallas County came up with their plan and they targeted zip codes that were heavily hit by the coronavirus and wanted to make sure that the Fair Park was giving those over-affected, let's do that, over-affected communities, the vaccine and making sure they got it. He said no, and if you continue with that plan, I will decrease your allotment. So if you live in the southern sector and you are close to Fair Park and you are in a seriously affected area, they are saying if they were to treat you with the acuity levels that you are showing in the data, he is not going to give Dallas County the amount of vaccines that they need to be effective. I don't know why this man is still in office, and I feel like something needs to be done. I feel like maybe I need to run for chair of the Democratic Party in Dallas County so that I can make sure that we stop this kind of foolishness, that we start putting people in office and we stop telling this lie that Texas is a Republican state. It was only a Republican state when Daddy Bush flipped it for Baby Bush, because Baby Bush really did not win, just like he really didn't win the presidency. And, you know, we don't want to come up with the Al Gore Lieberman story, but it was a thing. Like, they tried it out in Texas. You know, it was like the test pilot in Texas. Then we took it to the Oval Office. Well, that's what happened. We had Ann Richards. Texas has always been a Democratic state. Now, you could say it's a Dixiecratic state. Yeah, you got some Democrats that have Republican views about race and color and people and socialism and that kind of thing. That's the dirty word, but it's not a dirty word when corporations get a lot of tax breaks. That's socialism. Then you start talking about, whether or not this is really a Democratic or a Republican state. It's not. It's only been a Republican state for about 20-something years. It's not been a Republican state since the Republic. And so something needs to be done about Governor Hot Wheels, because he had no qualms about telling you you did not matter and you did not exist. All right. Now, I want to talk about Trump. I want to talk about the companies that are doubling down and giving to Republican politicians. I want to talk about they've gone from 30 PAC donors to 20. I want to talk about all of that. I'm going to take a quick break. But when I come back, I want to talk about Bridgerton, because Shonda Rhimes had a series on Netflix, and I'm hoping that our anonymous critic will call in and give us his rendition of what took place. This is absolutely hilarious. This is Coy with the Black Tea Sip in a minute.
All's my life I has to fight, nigga. All's my life hard times like, yeah. Bad trips like, yeah. Nazareth, I'm fucked up, homie, you fucked up. But if God got us, then we gon' be alright.
Nigga, we gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Huh? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. Bahamas, I be looking at you from the face down. One Mac 11, even boom with the bass down. Scheming, and let me tell you about my life. Painkillers only put me in the twilight. With pretty pussy and Benjamin is the highlight. Now tell my mama I love her, but this what I like. Lord knows, 20 of them in my Chevy. Tell them all to come and get me, reaping everything I sow. So my karma come in heaven, no preliminary hearings on my record. I'm a motherfucking gangster, silence for the record. Tell the world I know it's too late. Boys and girls, I think I've gone crazy. Trying to side my face this all day. Won't you please believe when I say, when you know we've been hurt, been down before. Nigga, when our pride was low, looking at the world like, where do we go? Nigga, and we hate po-po, when they kill us dead in the street for sure. Nigga, I'm at the preacher's door. My knees getting weak and my gun might blow, but we gon' be alright.
Nigga, we gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Huh? We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
What you want?
Nourished skin is healthy skin. Simply Ardor skincare products provides luxurious nourishment for your body. Indulge in rich scrubs and body butters, and top it off with our sensational and unique aromatic lines of sprays and roll-on fragrances. It's simple and lovely. Simply Ardor. Love is real. Just spread it.
All right, and we're back. If you're just joining us, this is Cora with your Black Tea Sip, and we've been talking about the inauguration. We've been talking about Madam Vice President, and I said I wanted to talk about the companies that are pulling away from the GOP, but before we get into that, I want to bring on the anonymous critic because Bridgerton has been a huge thing. Netflix has not had this kind of audience support and outpouring about a show before Shonda Rhimes took Shondaland away from ABC and dropped it right there in Netflix territory. And so anonymous critic is going to come on and tell us, wrap up season 1, because guess what? Season 2 was just approved. The anonymous critic, are you there?
Hello.
Hi. Well, thank you for calling. I would love to hear your rendition of and wrap up of Bridgerton season 1. So can you give that to me from your perspective? Because a lot of women liked it, but let's hear from a man.
Okay, so as the anonymous critic, I'm going to give you a bullet point synopsis of what I gathered from this season. This is a spoiler for those of y'all that are still waiting to see it. You might want to turn to something else for a few minutes because I'm about to lay it all out for you in a true Cliff Note form here. So the basis of this thing is we have this little stuttering kid who has an asshole dad that vows to squash the family name on his dad's deathbed. This kid grows up to be a duke, and he befriends a little young hottie from across the tracks that happens to be his homeboy's sister. He rescues her from a creepy dude that she didn't want to be bothered with by doing a fake courtship. So they go out in public, they look at each other, gaze into each other's eyes, dance, and just kind of got this whole little fake thing, but they're really just kind of supposed to be throwing each other off. So all is well for a hot minute until she catches the eye of a prince. She has it made the shade and starts she starts counting her coins and thinking about Birkin bags and everything. And then, bam, feelings happen. They are both in denial, and I don't mean the river. He pulls her in the garden where they kiss, which apparently on this show is a huge no-no. See, this is set way, way back in the day. And clearly the WAP video was not made yet at this time, but, that's a story for another show. So now, since his homeboy, her brother, saw this kiss go down, they got to have a duel at dawn because the Duke is not going to marry Lil B. I'm calling Lil B the chick that he's into, the Duke that is. So Lil B jumps on her horse scooter and at dawn and dives in front of the bullet. What in the entire hell is she doing jumping in front of the bullet? But hey, what can you do? So at this point, the Duke says, I'll go ahead and marry you, Lil B. But kids, they are completely out of the question, and I don't want to talk about it. So marriage happens. Now, when they get married, you got to give it to the Duke because his pull-out game is really strong. Lil B does not know how babies are made, but they practice a lot. They did the horizontal mambo every place they could, on the stairwell, on the bookshelf, on the land, on top of ant piles, by the water, everything. I mean, it really got rough there, right around episode 5 or 6 with them doing all over the place. But, it was what it was. And a couple of times he put his face in the place, and she loved it and got all excited. And she was just a ball of confusion. They hunched like minks all day long, and she asked for some help. She asked the help for a sex ed class. She gets it. She understands what's supposed to happen, what blocks are supposed to fit in what holes. They go back to the horizontal mambo, and she flips him over and holds on. And what do you know? He floods her basement. Now, after this happens, he gets mad. She finally finds out the whole story on the asshole dad. They make up, pull-out game is over, and what do you know? They go ahead and they have themselves a cute little beige baby. Now, that's pretty much my wrap up of the whole show. But all along, what I kind of left out, one of the things I kind of left out is the fact that there's a mysterious person who's like a fake TMZ at this time, and they're trying to figure out who that person is, because this TMZ person is spilling all the beans in the whole kingdom, and at the very last scene, they kind of tell who it was. So now we got a season 2 coming up, and I may or may not watch it, but if I do, I'll put something together for y'all.
Thank you.
And that is my commentary.
Thank you to the anonymous critic, because I love to get a man's perspective on what shows women are absolutely loving. He floods her basement, the horizontal mambo, they do it on Empire. Thank you so much, anonymous critic. Bridgerton, like I said, will be back. Shonda Rhimes is bringing you different kinds of television. And this is what I love about it. We are a multifaceted people. We are not one-dimensional. We are not monotheistic in our thinking. We like different kinds of things. And what Shonda will be able to do with Netflix that I do not believe she would have been able to do with ABC is she's going to be able to explore the fact that we are three-dimensional and that we like to see ourselves in all kinds of eras and roles because we existed throughout time in all kinds of roles during every era. Okay, thank you so much, anonymous critic. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. Listen, there is a lot of talk about QAnon. Most of us didn't even know what it was. It is not the only right-wing conspiracy group, but it is the biggest. And one of the things that I thought was absolutely hilarious during the inauguration was the fact that there were one man in particular who actually gets, I'm not going to even hesitate. He does get the Dildo of the Day award because this complete idiot showed up at the New York State Capitol and was alone and couldn't believe that he was alone. Like, he couldn't believe that he was alone there and that this man, Mark Legario, the lone idiot by the Capitol building. Let's see if we got that picture of this one man standing by the Capitol. He expected several thousand people at the inauguration, right? He expected that. He is shocked, befuddled, and confuffled. I don't know, awestruck, flabbergasted, in a quagmire, right? Because he is by himself. There he is, by himself. For those of you that can see it on social media, YouTube or Facebook, you're looking at the man who's standing there, who cannot believe, he's in complete and total disbelief that there is not a takeover of every capital in the United States, because that was what was believed to happen. So I want to spend a little time with you talking about QAnon, because I didn't know what it was. I mean, I heard it, but I didn't know what it was. And I talked to y'all about how they had this conspiracy theory that Barack Obama, and namely the main person that they're after is Hillary Clinton, saying that they were sex trafficking children, and they were running the sex trafficking movement or project out of a pizza parlor, and you had this fool go through there with an AR-15 looking for children and Hillary Clinton. I mean, they literally had Hillary Clinton like, what's the lady's name in 101 Dalmatians? Cruella DeVille. They had her like Cruella DeVille and had the little children like the Dalmatians, like she was skinning them and wearing them like last year's Versace. That is QAnon. So I want to spend a little time with that. But before I do, I want to talk about 147 lawmakers who oppose certification of the presidential election have been cut off from 20 of the 30 biggest corporate PACs, political action committees. They are no longer allowed to receive money from these super PACs. Now, a super PAC, when we talk about a political action committee, can have, $700 million in it, and they divvy that money up between key Republican politicians, right? They've been cut off. Ted Cruz is one of them. I mentioned him earlier. Here are the 10 that are still donating to the super PACs. Koch, the Koch brothers, KOCH, Home Depot, USAA, the insurance company for military veterans, and their children and their children's children. American crystal sugar. Well, I don't even know what that is. That sounds like something that'll give you diabetes. Like, I don't even like the way that sounds. American crystal crystal meth. They need a new name. But anyway, they're donating. General Dynamics. I don't know about them. ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil is headquartered in Houston, Texas, right outside the Woodlands, Texas. For those of you listening in Houston, they are huge contributors through philanthropy. They gave $100,000 to Houston community colleges to teach children about petroleum jobs and to educate the professors in those jobs so that they would have key personnel coming into the workforce that were already educated. Okay, that's ExxonMobil. See how they do some good, but they be back here in the background doing some old mess. BNSF Railway. Okay, those, especially for those of you that live up north, that are always on railways. Charter Communications. Isn't Charter Communications part of Spectrum? I don't know that. Don't hold me to that, but I think there's, at least there used to be. So if y'all got Spectrum, y'all need to look into that. Cox Enterprise and FedEx. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do about that because, you know, I order a lot from Amazon, and it doesn't always come UPS. So, I don't know. So I am saying you need to start writing letters telling them that you disapprove of the way that they are spending money and whom they're spending it with. Coke, the Koch brothers, KOCH, Home Depot, USAA, American Crystal Sugar. Don't take that sugar. That's like crystal meth. I bet it does something bad to you. General Dynamics, ExxonMobil, BNSF Railway, Charter Communications, Cox Enterprise, and FedEx. And if you can see the graphic on the screen, you'll see what kind of money they're donating. So there is a lot going on that they're not talking about. We're waiting to see, as I mentioned before, 7 senators have filed ethics complaints against Holly and Ted Cruz for inciting the riot and not taking responsibility. Holly said he's not going anywhere. That is what he said. This is Corey with your Black Tea Sip. When I come back, we're going to talk about QAnon. And let's talk about the other White House. You know about the White House that Joe's staying in. There's another White House. I want to talk about it and show you a picture. This is Corey with your Black Tea Sip in a minute.
Hey y'all, it's your boy, Journeyman Bell, aka Mr. 100, host of my new show, The Journey, broadcasting live each week on Saturday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time at Fishbowl Radio Network Studios at Global Life Park in Arlington, Texas. Log in here at The Journey and listen in as we deal with topics on the 100 basis. That's right, you get nothing but the 100 from The Journeyman. So be sure to log in each week on Saturday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time at The Journey, where we take life one step at a time.
On FishbowlRadioNetwork.com. Jump in.
Podcasters and internet radio hosts, it's time to take your show to the next level. Hi, my name is Sammy G, a 30-plus year radio broadcasting veteran, public speaker, and voiceover artist. And for the last 11 years, now the proud owner of Fishbowl Radio Network, the largest and most listened to streaming platform and radio station facility of its kind. 2 years ago, I created a proprietary system to help podcasters and internet radio hosts learn how to program their show like the pros, build a constantly growing and loyal fan base, and monetize their show. I teach this system every 6 weeks via Zoom to individuals all over the world. The Behind the Mic Masterclass is 6 one-hour classes that will finally take your show to the next level. Call today, 817-633-4880, 817-633-4880, and reserve your seat for the next Behind the Mic Masterclass.
Hello, I'm Bill. I've been in the financial industry for over 30 years. Now I share my passion for helping others become more financially educated. Why are so many people interested in what I share? Because like others, I've discovered who the financially free are and who they are not. But most importantly, I've determined how ordinary people can become financially free. If you're struggling with living paycheck to paycheck, drowning in debt while struggling to save for retirement, then I can get you the support you need. By joining the Mustard Seed Financial Literacy Series membership, you will get access to my financial courses. Hey, don't worry, I'm not going to teach you how to become a financial consultant, but I am going to show you how to get out of debt, how to raise your credit score, and how to put savings away for retirement. My courses are simple simple and easy to follow at your own pace. So join today at abetterwaytogrow.org. That's abetterwaytogrow.org. I'm going to show you a better way to grow.
Hello, we are It's About the Kids Incorporated. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization that operates out of Dallas, Texas.
Our mission is to focus on the kids of today who will become the youth of tomorrow and the adult of the future. Today, tomorrow, the future.
Empowering the community one family at a time.
You can reach us at all social media platforms at It's About the Kids or online at www.itsaboutthekids.org.
Where we mentor a child, save a life.
Hi, this is Diane Marion Eunice, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. For the past 9 years, I have worked with over 300 couples in the areas of sexual health, communication, and conflict resolution. If you are interested in rebuilding connection and intimacy with your partner, please contact me today. I can be reached at 682-201-8175, or you can email me at diane@letstalkrelationships.org, or visit my website at www.letstalkrelationships.org. And remember, you can't heal if you refuse to deal.
I may never have met you. We don't go way back. Maybe we wouldn't even be friends if we did. But when you wear a mask, you have my respect. Because your mask doesn't protect you. It protects me. I wear my mask to protect you. Mask up, America.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Fishbowl Radio Network. FBRN.US. Jump in.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job. Done.
Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties. Sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Coy with your black tea sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's fill it up.
All right, and we're back. If you're just joining us, you sun-kissed gods and goddesses, sun-kissed by God's lips, this is your girl, Coy, with your black tea sip. So today I told you grab your cup. I was going to fill it up. So we've talked about the inauguration. We've talked about Joe Biden. We haven't talked about the fact that he spent his first few hours in office on January 20th. Probably from about 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, literally undoing everything that Trump did. Like 14 executive orders to reverse. And I loved every bit of it. But I want to talk about how we ended up here with Trump. You know, I've asked myself time and time again, what is the phenomenon with Trump? Like how did this inarticulate orangutan end up running the Oval Office and conducting a 3-ring circus? Like, how is that possible? How did that happen? Well, it led me to QAnon. I've talked about it before, as I said before the break. But let's talk about how we got here. Because I'm a history buff, and if we don't talk about how we got here, then we won't be able to talk about how not to be here again. Because as you well know, Trump has said time and time again that he plans to be back in some form, because that was the speech he gave when he exited the plane after leaving the White House, you know, when Melania walked off from him. He said that he would be back in some form in 2024. That means if they impeach him, then he's going to run Ivanka against Kamala should Joe Biden not run again. Or he plans to run Ivanka against Joe Biden should he plan to run for a second term. So this is what's going on with QAnon. QAnon started in October 2017, an anonymous user named Q Clearance Patriot began posting conspiracy theories on a message site, like this seedy, dark message site called 4chan, C-H-A-N. Never heard of it, but I'm not on seedy sites. Okay, so at least not looking for, I'm not on a seedy site looking for government information. Like, these people are already thrown off. With the message now appearing on Acun, K-U-N. So it went from 4chan to Acun, K-U-N. A rebranded version of the shuttered A-chan message board, okay? Q claims to have insider knowledge of the Trump administration and touts this theory that the president is waging a secret war against global cabal of pedophile elites that includes an array of Hollywood actors, and I've mentioned before, Democrats, and namely Hillary Clinton, and all of these politicians worship Satan. Okay. The disciples of QAnon, and it's Q, capital A-N-O-N, okay, believe that the day of reckoning called the storm is coming when Trump uncovers the cabal leading to the arrest of thousands, and so-called a great awakening will bring salvation. Okay. Do you see how wacky this sounds for me to say this? I cannot believe that this is actually, listen, this is real. I didn't get this from some, site. I got this from the New York Times. Okay? This is real. People really did do this. The storm is reference to a comment that Trump made in 2017 while posting alongside military generals. You guys, quote now, you guys know what this represents. Maybe it's the calm before the storm. Followers believe Trump is delivering a coded message when he does this. So who's behind it? Where is it based, right? So 2 Americans right now are accused of being the brains behind QAnon. The 8chan owner, James Arthur Watkins, and his son, Ronald Watkins, is the administrator. The elder Watkins has been living in the Philippines since 2001, according to records obtained by ABC News. So now he's in the Philippines causing havoc over here in the United States. See how that works? QAnon is the site that they look to for their information. So the Proud Boys, they were with QAnon when they took over the Capitol. The guy with the horns and some kind of head on, he was a QAnon, and he's in jail now, upset because he can't get organic food. And they are saying that it's unfair because they believe that because for like Jewish people who are in jail, they get kosher meals because of their religion. Well, I eat organic food, and I understand that, you may want it to be a religious reason just for, I guess you could say your body is a temple. You could try to use, let me not help them. Let me not give them nothing. I'm kind of smart. I could probably figure something out. But they are, when you look at this and you've turned the page, you're like, well, they were always psychotic. Q claims that everyone is on the game. The government, the media, the Hollywood, the education industry, the healthcare industry, and probably your grandma are working in cahoots to exploit you in some way as the average citizen. So now, listen. Remember when they started talking about Joe the plumber and the everyday man and the working man? Remember that? Well, the everyday citizen buys into this conspiracy that because they have not gotten whatever they believe their just desserts from their white skin through white supremacy and white privilege, there must be a reason for it. So they easily buy into the QAnon conspiracy. Here are the 5 central beliefs of QAnon believers. An evil cult is ruling the planet. That's why they don't like Scientology. That's why they always going after it and talking about it. And, I'm like, why y'all keep talking about it? It's okay. I mean, it exists and the people that are in it, but why is it such a big deal, right? Like, you wonder those things. Like, why are we always hearing about Scientology? Well, a QAnon conspiracy is that it is a group of people, rich people, Hollywood elite, that are running around trying to take you out. Okay, just so you know, you're being taken out by those kind of things. Okay, so the conspiracy about ruling class of evil elites, okay, and they go to the Illuminati, have been around forever, right? But they enlist people that other people would see themselves as part of the grouping of people that are pushing them down, keeping their thumbs on them. They can't rise up through white supremacy and through their white privilege. So like the Rothschilds, like they'll talk about the Rothschilds, and there's a picture of the Rothschilds, and this woman's got this head on, and and then they talk about the Q cult symbolism of Y-shaped heads. I don't know what none of that means, so don't ask me. So I'm just pouring the tea now. I'm just pouring the tea. Y'all drink it if you want to. And the theories about the Rothschilds are likely about celebrities like Nick Cannon have justified their recent streak in unbound anti-Semitism. Now, they use what Nick Cannon said. What Nick Cannon actually said was that African Americans brought here through the Middle Passage were the original Jews, and then they kicked him off the show, and they said that he was an anti-Semite. And I don't know how that, if you say I'm part of it, I don't know why you would say you're against it. I never got that part of it, but that's part of it. They claim that Epstein, Trump's friend. Now listen to it. Epstein is Trump's friend, but Epstein is part of this ruling class of sex trafficking ring of small children, a satanic cult where humans are sacrificed, and they argue that it engages in bloodletting of children, and it claims that many of the leaders and celebrities are involved, and sometimes even models who like to share recipes of rice pudding. Yes, y'all heard me. That's what they said. And I'm trying to understand, but Epstein was with Trump. That was his boy. But they following Trump, and they're against Epstein. They said that Donald Trump is an American hero. This is part of their theory, that Donald Trump is an American hero. Hillary Clinton is not a good person. She's part of satanic cults. She's possibly part of this conspiracy of the bloodletting, and she's definitely involved in this sex trafficking ring. Now, this is what they believe. Even though Trump has been seen with 14-year-old children, they talk about him being alleged. He got the Bush boy kicked off of what is the show? The little not Entertainment Tonight, the other one. Like Entertainment Tonight is like A-roll, and this is like the B-roll show, and they got the little boy, the Bush boy, kicked off the show when Trump said he was going to grab women in their private parts, but he used the vulgarity to express that. That's Trump, but he's not part of the sex child trafficking ring and Epstein. Is all Hillary. See how it doesn't make sense. My grandma said if it doesn't make sense, it's a lie somewhere. So it's a battle to take over the networks from the evil, corrupt players. And so, that's why Trump is always talking about the media. The media is against him because the QAnon belief is that the media is part of this evil conspiracy with Hollywood elite and Democratic politicians. I'm telling you this because Trump he's left, but he's not gone. You understand what I'm saying? He's left, but he's not gone. And so you have a lot of Republicans like Ted Cruz, like Holly, like Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell that will not just call a spade because they know the truth. Now, there's a bifurcation, there's a split in the Republican Party where you got Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham saying that Joe Biden is the truly elected, honest elected president. And then you have Ted Cruz and the others that are still saying, I believe that something happened, knowing full well that something did happen. They got beat. They didn't lose, they got beat. 8 million people said, Trump, we don't want you. And thereby not wanting any of this. But these people are not going away, even though there's been conversation about why, what are they supposed to do now? There was a conspiracy about him, and I mentioned it in the 11 o'clock hour, about declaring martial law and taking over and arresting all of these Democrats and putting them in this undisclosed bunker where they would be tried by a military tribunal. And all of these things were going to happen. And now that they haven't happened, they don't know if they should poop or go blind. They literally do not know what to do. because they don't know what to do, it makes them dangerous. Because they don't know what to do, they're going to start looking for something to do. They're going to start trying to find a way back in. They've lost the great white, well, I'm sorry, I've misspoke. The great orange hope. They've lost it. And so they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They believe that the Democratic Party has sinister intentions. So anything that the Democrats are trying to do is sinister. It's not honest. They drop claims about them being evil people. According to QAnon, the Democrats are significant players in the conspiracy against America. And it's Hillary Clinton, it's Barack Obama, it's Joe Biden. They're all secretly working to hold down the black population. They explained to me, I said, well, maybe that's why some of y'all's cousins are out here running around with these people, because they bought into the fact that there is this conspiracy through the Democratic Party to ensure that black folks don't make it. I'm not saying that the Democratic Party is trying to ensure that black people do make it, but why would you choose the Republican Party if that's your concern? Again, if it doesn't make sense, there's a lie somewhere. They believe that the Democrats want us divided, that they're trying to instill race wars. And now, again, I'm not fluent in oxymoronic language, but when I hear it, I know it. If your concern is about black people, and the police are killing black people, and they're getting away with killing black people, unarmed black people, and that is your concern, then why are you back in the blue and saying all lives matter? Why are you not saying black lives matter? Because it's a process to pull you in the same way Gloria Steinem pulled black women in for the women's liberation movement, the burning of the bra and hear me roar. In the same way, it was the dismantling of the Black Panther Party, because that's what happened. We started fooling around over here trying to be recognized and be accepted in this assimilation of white acceptance. We forgot about the good we were doing over here at the Black Panther Party and started going over here and burning up our bras. Look here, a lot of y'all needed those bras to hold them puppies up, because some of y'all are in a bad situation right now. Grandmamas is not doing good right now, walking on their teats because they bought into that ridiculousness. That is the same thing here. And you got a bunch of us running around here supporting Trump when Trump is saying, I love the blacks. I've never heard that before in my life. I've never heard anybody say, oh, I love the blacks. The blacks. Like we were a crayon getting, and you were picking a color. Well, I'll use this one. Anybody who bought into that is absolutely crazy. But let me get to number 5. The patriots are in control. So when those people were storming the Capitol and saying, oh, yeah, you're a patriot, God bless you, you're a patriot. That's what they were saying. The patriots are in control. That is who they believe is for the betterment of America. The patriots. That's what they were saying. So now, because they are part of these dark message boards and these channels and this QAnon belief system, there is irrefutable evidence against what they were trying to do. Irrefutable evidence against treason. And I don't see how in the world you can know these people are being tried and ultimately will be convicted and still believe in Donald Trump. Trump has lied and lied and lied, and they still believe all of Trump's lies. That concerns me, because they're not going away, and you are going to have him in some form or facet. He's going to run again. If it's not him, it'll be his daughter. But I don't think it'll be either one of his sons, because both of them are dumb. And then the child he had with Marla Maples. He really likes immigrants. I don't understand why he's such against other immigrants. I guess you have to be a white immigrant. But anyway, he had a child by Marla Maples, and that's Tiffany, and she's in law school. And so Ivanka is a Wharton graduate like her father. I don't think he really graduated from Wharton. I think they just not calling him on it for whatever reason, because it's really ridiculous. But I will say this, there is a bright light, if you will, that the Deutsche Bank, and I've talked about this before on this show when I talked about how they get financed and how they get their money, because they were cut off. They had to go to B credit because they were cut off from all of the big banks in America. Bank of America and JP Morgan Chase and Wells Fargo and others would not give the Trumps, whether it was Donald or any of his children, any money, so they go to the Deutsche Bank. Well, the Deutsche Bank has since cut them off. So not only are these senators cut off from 20 of the 30 super PACs that these companies give money to, they've also been cut off from their financing with the Deutsche Bank. It's very interesting to see what happens to Trump because he owes $400 million, and he's currently the Southern District of New York, which I've talked about a lot, has filed a civil lawsuit against him. I don't know where he's going to get the money from. I do know that Ivanka Trump a few weeks ago was deposed as far as campaign financing fraud. I just want to say this. For those of you that were worried about whether or not you were going to have any kind of anything about Trump as far as Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Fallon and the other pundits, comic or otherwise, we still have a lot of information. I mean, we still have a lot we can do with Trump in orange jumpsuit or black and white stripes. Like, stuff is coming. I'm just interested to see how he gets away with it. People have talked about Trump. I've talked about Trump. We all talk about Trump. But here's the thing. He's loyal to a fault. Did you see all the people, 140 people he pardoned? Tiger King did not get pardoned. Bless his heart. He didn't really understand what was happening. He did not get a pardon. But he did say that he did not get a pardon because he's a super gay. I didn't know it was levels of gayness, but I learned something new every day watching TMZ. And he said that he was a gay, and so they had the limousine ready to take him home, and then he didn't go nowhere. And somebody said that he had given away all his honey buns and things, and so I don't know. He's just going to have to re-up, bless his heart. But Trump did not pardon him. He did pardon Kodak Black, who was accused of raping an adult high school student, which just means an 18-year-old, but she's still a student in high school. And then he pardoned Lil Wayne, who had a weapons charge, who was already on probation for a drug charge, so he pardoned him. And then he pardoned a couple of other people. One was accused of beating a woman. So, if you are accused of rape, guns, drugs, beating, assault of women, then Trump pardoned you. Like, you could get that pardon. It was very interesting for me to see who he actually did pardon, because a lot of that was the idea that he was not going to pardon these people, and he was going to give these people a pass. Let's call it a pass, So in his 30,573 false or misleading claims, outright lies, Trump did do what he said he was going to do. He said he was going to pardon those people, but he didn't pardon his children. And I wondered why, because they're going to need it. I mean, they are definitely going to need the pardon, so I thought that was interesting that he wasn't going to pardon them. But let's see who he did pardon. He pardoned, some of these people we don't even know. We've never heard of. We've never heard of a lot of these people, but all of them have had, serious felony charges. Serious felony charges. So I wonder why the Tiger King couldn't get out. I mean, he doesn't have a problem with people who lie, cheat, beat, steal, rape. He doesn't have a problem with that at all. Kellyanne Conway made it. I mean, she's lost all the respect from her daughter, and her husband is talking about divorce, but at least she still has the favoritism of Trump. She was recently on the Bill Maher show, in which she continued to lie for Trump. I wonder if we take all of the lies that people told in his cabinet, I bet those lies would be in the millions, because like I said, he's at over 30,500 just in 4 years. I wonder what the other people would say. Hey, listen, I want to speak very briefly about something that I find to be quite interesting. Since George Floyd's death, May 25th, 2020, happens to be my birthday, so I'll never forget it. There has been a run on black books by black authors, and black bookstores. And one of the things that seems to be a resounding theme is that they have said, one woman in particular said it to a woman that was working for pals.com, well, how am I supposed to fix racism if I can't get the book? Wow. I mean, I don't understand why racism is not fixed, because all we had to do was go to her. See, this idea that blackness is new is incredibly inflammatory, incendiary, and downright laughable if it wasn't true. That there's this idea that blackness is new and that blackness needs to be saved in some way by white people, which is very ironic because white fragility has amassed in volumes in which we've never seen before. I mean, every time something happened, and white girls' tears are certainly priceless, we saw them use that. Well, I'm going to tell them that I'm going to call the police, and I'm going to tell them that a black man is harassing me, when the man simply said, "Hey, ma'am, can you put your dog on a leash?" And these are not things that's new to us, but I realize it's new to them. They are completely baffled by the fact that we exist in our own spaces that are counterparts to their spaces, but they are going to rescue us. And so if you had a black book that you were interested in and you couldn't get it, well, it's because it's been a run on it by white America. Now, I'm certainly not saying that something's wrong with that. And I'm certainly not saying that we should feel some kind of way and furrow our brow. I'm simply saying, isn't it ironic? You know, the good book says that the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And since Cat Williams put it best that we as black folks have been first and last for a mighty long time, this is interesting times. Very interesting times. Now you can walk into Target, and any Target, and see black books and black authors and black stuff for black folk. But no, it's not really for us, because if it were for us, they'd have had it a long time ago. It's for our counterparts, so they can better understand us and they can fix racism. You can fix racism by not voting for people like Donald Trump and Ted Cruz. You can fix racism by impeaching Donald Trump and expelling Ted Cruz and Holly and some of the others. I mean, you could fix racism by doing that. And had that been done, this fix of racism, we wouldn't have had a run on the Capitol that we did. But then, if we didn't have the George Floyd and South Carolina with Clyburn being able to exalt the kind of influence that he did in the black community, would we have a Joe Biden in office? We wouldn't have TikTok videos of white women saying, "All hail to black women because they saved us from Trump." That's a real thing, but that's being said all over social media. We wouldn't have the acknowledgement that the black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party. We wouldn't have those things. And isn't that funny that we didn't need Ice Cube and 50 cents to get us here? I mean, we did it without their help. Who would have ever thunk it? I think it's mighty interesting that these are mighty interesting times, that now there is interest in what blackness really is. I mean, it wasn't interesting when Obama was president and Michelle was the first lady and they were buying everything that she got, like J. Crew. She said, "Oh, this is J. Crew." And then J. Crew sold out in minutes, right? Not interested in blackness then. And then there was this whole pull. I talked about at the 11 o'clock hour to pull Kamala away from her blackness, even though that's what she said out of her own face to the world. But now it's interested in blackness. Black books and black calendars and black messages and black Twitter. I've been asked, how do I get into black Twitter? And I said, well, you have to have your black card. And she said, what is that? It's like a social security card? I said, because you know they always give us numbers. So, you know, it's mighty interesting times to be black. I wonder what we're going to do with it. I'm going to tell you in just a minute. If you want to know what we should do with these times of looking like we might just get it first, since we've been last, then like and share this show. This is Corey with the Black Tea Sip. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Go grab your cup, baby. I'm about to fill it up.
Baby, there's a war right outside our window. Don't you hear the people fighting for their lives? Baby, there's a war right outside our window, but it's gonna be alright, long as I got you with me. In your arms I find my shelter. Deep in your love I will hide. Baby, you and me. Stop the world, we're together. You'll find a way to take my mind. Hoping for better days, when things are better. Hoping for better days, some better days. Hoping for better days, when things are better. Hoping for better days, some better days. I can hear the sirens right outside our window, and I can hear the children crying while their mothers cry. I'm praying for the people right outside our window, hoping they find peace at night, just like you and me. In your arms I find my shelter. Deep in your love I will hide. Baby, you and me. Stop the world, we're together. You'll find a way to take my mind. Hoping for better days, when things are better. Hoping for better days, some better days. Hoping for better days, when things are better. Hoping for better days, some better days. So how we gonna stop the violence, stop the hurting, stop the hatred, stop the murder? We're human, that's for certain. Come together, we deserve it. What kind of life will our babies have if we don't change up and make it last? It starts right here, starts right now, with love and hope for better days, when things are better. Hoping for better days, good or better days, days when things were better. Hoping for better days, good or better
Do you want to find a stable job in a growing field? IT jobs such as network systems administrators, cybersecurity, programming, cloud, and computer systems analyst are expected to increase 25% by 2022. Texas Premier Technology Institute offers training for top certifications such as CompTIA, Cisco, and Microsoft in less than 12 weeks. And if you're unemployed or underemployed, you may qualify for free tuition. Contact TPTI at 1-888-490-TPTI or check them out on the web at tpti.us.
All right, this is Corey with your Black Tea Sip. If you're just joining us at the 11 o'clock hour, we've been running down the inauguration, what's been happening in the White House now that Black is back. And we've been talking about how did we get there with Trump and these crazies that took over the Capitol, and what are they going to do in the next 2 to 4 years? Well, I told you, if you want to know what we should do with this newfound blackness where people are so accepting and want to know more about us, this is what we should do. We should celebrate each other in rare fashion. We should be touting each other's experiences. We should be talking up our HBCUs. We need to set a precedence that this is not new, that we've always been here. We need to encourage those of other races and ethnicities that support the movement of equality for all. We need to encourage them to do the same. We need to show some hand-holding between the Hispanic community and the black community and the allies and the white community. Like, we need to have a ramp up of the fact that this has always existed. This is not new. So that those persons, like the woman who said, how am I going to fix racism? I can't get the book. Those persons will understand that, yes, that's great. Come on in. But you don't necessarily automatically get a ticket to the picnic. Because we've always done it. We've always been here. We're always going to be here. We have been supporting ourselves in this country with very little help and support. I'm not saying we didn't have any, but it was a fraction of what we should have had. And so with that being said, we need to show that, not just show it in a sense that it's happening and so we start putting little things on social media. No, we need to show up at school board meetings, at our city council meetings. We need to be responding to our governors. Like if you live in the state of Texas, Governor Hot Wheels, this ridiculousness about you're not going to give an allotment of the allotment, because he said a decreased allotment if you actually target the zip codes that are heavily hit by COVID. We need to show that we're here. We need to stop waiting for 4 years to go by. We need to show it now. We need to show support for one another. We need to show support for those who are part of our movement, our struggle, our plight. They understand it. But we need to do it in a way that we're not just touting it and backing off of it. It needs to be constant and consistent. Because what we need to demonstrate is, although we may welcome the help, we've been doing far more with far less for a mighty long time. And this idea that you're going to save us by reading a book that has already been out for 2 years is utterly ridiculous. And they need to understand the ridiculousness of it. And I don't think we need to hold our tongues. Now is the time that it's okay to say, hey, give me 50 feet. Bag, give me 50 feet. Now is the time that we can actually say, no, that's not what that is. We can call a Karen, and a spade. And we need not hold our tongues to do that. Now is the time. Before I get out of here, I got a couple of things I want to talk about. Parler is a social media network. Never heard of it. Didn't know anything about it. If you can go in there, I don't really want to be associated. But if you feel like it, go in there and see what they're talking about. But just know this. If you decide to, because I know a lot of black folks have gotten on Parler and they want to see what's being said and going on. Know this, that Parler is now being supported by a Russian company, and Russia is a lot like China, not in the sense of communism in the full brevity and scope of the definition of the word, but Parler as a social media site got kicked off the Amazon servers. You can no longer download it through Apple or Google Play Store. So they are now being supported by this Russian company. And Russia as a country, whenever you have a company in the country, requires you to allow them to have access to your data. So if you want to go in there and poke around and see what they're saying, know that, but just know that the Russian company does have the ability to share your data and information with Russia. Before we go, I have to continue to talk about Kamala Harris because she is the vice president and black is back in the White House. But I thought that you would be interested to know that when you're the vice president, you also live in a White House. She and her husband are going to be living in a White House on the grounds, I guess is the best way to say it, where she's basically going to have her own Victorian-style mansion, white, 19th century, I said Victorian, 19th century mansion on the grounds of the U.S. Naval Observatory in Northwest Washington. And so she and her husband, Doug Emhoff, will set up house there. And there's a picture of it with all the snow, and it's very pretty, and that is the mansion that the VP will be living in. The estate is close to the White House grounds, where, I was almost about to say Senator, VP Harris will have her office, and it's not too far, the house is not too far from Georgetown University Law School, where her husband, Doug Emhoff, is set to teach, and he's an attorney, so he'll be teaching law at the law school. And so to get around, they'll have access to Air Force 2, which is a Boeing 757, and they will have round-the-clock security. And so we need to continue to pray for the health and safety of the VP and the president. I think it's very interesting that so much is happening. These arrests are going on with the FBI, and they're getting all the people, and they are saying, you can't treat me like this, I'm white, or they have certain expectations. Again, I'm saying the first shall be last and the last shall be first, but I can't help but think about Black Lives Matter. Now, is it all lives matter? Is it really all lives matter? Is it just back the blue because the blue is arresting them? I'm just really interested in all of that. I think it's quite interesting that all of this is going on, and well, it's not happening to us. I mean, I guess it's happening to a couple of us. We did have the guy who beat the police officer with the baseball bat that turned himself in, and I'm sure he cut a deal, and he's going to tell the tale. So you're going to find out a lot more about QAnon. Black excellence. There is a young woman named Ashley Lamont, and she is the youngest person to ever have a Chick-fil-A franchise. Her name is Ashley Lamont. She's the youngest in Chick-fil-A history, and she used to work for the company when she was in college, and she worked for the restaurant right outside of Atlanta. She started when she was 15 years old. So high school. It turned out that she liked the job, and when it became time to go to college, she attended Spelman, and she began working at the Chick-fil-A restaurant near the campus. And then she later became a director on the leadership team. She is now the owner of a Chick-fil-A franchise. Her name is Ashley Lamont. I did the dildo of the day earlier for Margot Legario, the lone idiot that was at the Capitol. But I also want to give an honorable mention to the 147 Republican lawmakers who opposed the certification of the presidential election, and they have since been cut off. So see how you get your just desserts? The COVID corner. I want to say anybody who is interested in getting a vaccine, know that, well, that's the dildo of the day. We're a little late. Margot Legario. Okay. But anybody who wants to get a COVID vaccine, please make sure that you understand what it means to get the first one and then the second one. If you get the Moderna, it's supposed to be one and done. Please check if you are covered for 1 year or if you're only covered for 4 to 6 months. And really what I want to ask you to do is please continue to wear your mask. There seems to be this thought that people are not as concerned about their interactions with people. They're not as concerned about mask wearing because they feel like the vaccine is out there. Remember when I talked about in a previous show how Trump really wasn't trying to do anything because they believed in this herd immunity, let a lot of people get it, and then they get sick and it kind of extinguishes itself because people can't continue. People have gotten sick and they build up the antibodies. That's not the case with the coronavirus. That is not the case. You only have antibodies for a period of time. They've said anything from weeks. They've said to a few months. People who tend to get COVID are vulnerable and susceptible to getting it again. So we want to be very careful about our exposure and what we're doing and how we're doing it. People are getting sick. I was told recently about a friend of mine whose manager, 6-month-old baby, is infected with coronavirus, and everybody throughout the family, the immediate family and the extended family, simply because for Christmas they decided that they would all get together and celebrate the holidays. We're now starting to see Christmas and New Year's ramp up, and now we have a lot more hospitalizations. Joe Biden said that we may have 500 million in the next month, go from 407 to 500,000 people to die. I want y'all to be very careful. It's a lot going on in the world. We're talking about a lot. We make light of a lot. But I am concerned about your health and your safety. I am seriously concerned about whether or not our children are getting this disease, because it lingers and it lasts. I have a very good friend and a soror that has it and says she doesn't think that you ever really get rid of it. She's still battling it several months later. So those of you that are taking the vaccine, know what you're taking. I'm not saying don't take it. I'm not saying take it. I'm certainly not a doctor. I just play Dr. Mom at home and sometimes on social media, like here, like now. But I am saying, please know what you're taking. Some people are having allergic reactions to it. Some people are risking that because they feel like it's more important to get the vaccine than to not have it. So I certainly hope that you all are taking the necessary precautions and are doing what needs to be done. And I am certainly excited that Joe Biden is now the president and actually has a plan in place. He showed us the plan. You can go online. You can download the plan. There is a plan to really fully open schools and not have this divide between homeschool and face-to-face school. And several parents like myself have given in because homeschool was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. We've given in and we've decided to send our kids back to school, praying and hoping and wishing that nothing happens, that they don't contract it. We're taking all the necessary steps. We've taught our children to wipe down surfaces and wash their hands and use a sanitizer. And all of these things are happening because we had an orangutan running 3-ring circles from an Oval Office. But we're still feeling the effects, and he's gone. We're still dealing with the effects, and he's gone off to wherever, Mar-a-Lagos or wherever he is. And he's playing golf badly, I'm telling you, but he's playing golf. So I want to encourage you all to take care of yourself. Somebody, when I mentioned leaky gut, they laugh because it sounds ridiculous. Listen, if you're a person that works out all the time and can't seem to lose weight, you probably have leaky gut. If you are a person who is having adult acne or rosacea and you didn't have it before, you do now, you have bad eczema, those kind of things, you probably have leaky gut. If you are a person that, saying, oh, my mind is getting bad, I'm getting old, you probably have leaky gut. And so I'm encouraging you to look at that and see what that's all about. But basically what it is you have a bunch of bad bacteria in your gut. Let's call it yeast. And it overgrows and it causes toxins in the body. And I'm only mentioning this because when I mentioned it before and somebody laughed and said leaky gut, no, it's a real thing. Kids have it, adults have it. It's been tied to ADD or ADHD and brain fog and fatigue and sore joints and not being able to lose weight. And those are very real things. So I encourage you to look at that and to make some decisions about your health. And because if you have a healthy gut, then you have a healthy immune system. And so I'm saying that because some people are really concerned about this vaccine for a plethora of reasons. And so I want you to know that if you heal your gut and you strengthen your gut, you will strengthen your immune system. And you will be less susceptible to ideas about, well, whether or not you should take a vaccine, or if this is the time for you to take the vaccine, or if this is the vaccine for you, if you want to wait till Johnson & Johnson comes out with their product, because, I don't know, maybe you trust Johnson & Johnson more than you trust Pfizer or Moderna. I'm just simply saying there are a lot of things that they don't tell you that can actually work to your benefit to know. So before I get out of here, if you're interested in leaky gut, I have some people I can have you talk to. Leslie is a friend. Leslie Thompson is a friend of this show. I talked to her yesterday and Dr. Rachel, and they had great information. And so I am encouraging you to do that. Before I go, There is a young woman who is launching, young black woman, because you know we share and celebrate the Black Life Experience. She is launching Voila TV, and it will be basically a streaming network like Netflix for us. And you might just see me on there. So Voila TV, I know they're getting ready and ramping up this spring. And so they're going to bring you commentary and shows that you will enjoy, that you will like, that you will be able to take with you. And I think you're going to enjoy it. So it's kind of like a FUBU Netflix, for us, by us. And it's called Voila, like Voila TV. This is Core with your Black Tea Sip. We'll do it again, same bat chime, same bat channel, next Friday. And so I want y'all to be safe. I want you to think about the things that you are readily enlisting yourself to, and think about the fact that black is back in the White House. And so last time with Obama, they seemed to come down on us in corporate America in particular, like we were going to take over the country. We're prepared this time. The VP looks like me, but we know what to do this time. So we'll just let that be. This is Coy with your Black Tea Sip. We'll fill your cup up again next Friday. Angelo and I will be here at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. But you can catch me anytime on Facebook or YouTube. I prefer YouTube because, you know, Mark Zuckerberg and them don't like me too much. I also have a website up, www.blackteasip.com. Check it out. And merchandise is coming very soon. I got a cup that when you fill it up with something hot, it shows you something different. We'll do some T-shirts, some mugs, and we'll talk again real soon.
Just when I thought it wasn't getting no sicker, I woke up one morning and heard this weird-ass motherfucker talking out the side of his neck. Me and all my peoples, we always thought he was straight. Influential motherfucker when it came to the business. But now, since we know how you really feel, it's how we feel.
Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump. Yeah, nigga, fuck Donald Trump. Yeah, fuck Donald Trump. Yeah, fuck Donald Trump. Yeah, fuck Donald Trump.